Welcome back. For more details, we're very delighted to be joined over the phone with Dr. Hassan Wagih, the Professor of International Relations. Good morning, Dr. Wagih.
Good morning. How are you?
A good day to you, sir. So what is the political... It's a real pleasure. What is the political significance of President Sisi's meeting with the UNHCR at this particular time?
Actually, it reflects the long relationship between Egypt and the UN in general and UN for the refugees, of course. And Egypt has been playing a very important role as a good model for hosting refugees from different countries. And you know, Egypt hosts almost like 11 million of refugees. And they are being treated in Egypt as Egyptian citizens everywhere they are living with us. They are using our utilities, our schools, our everything. And I think that this is very unique. We do not give them into camps or stuff like that.
Right. How does Egypt host the hosting in its own right of more than 10.5 million refugees and migrants and other asylum seekers? How this is affecting its regional and international standing?
Of course, it should be very positive remembrance of Egypt when it comes to this, because I think that they are big in number. Egypt needs international support. There is no enough response to it, but Egypt is taking the burden. The only thing Egypt is calling for is that the international community should share the burden, should share the responsibility, but Egypt is taking the burden on its shoulder with dignity and with humanitarian stance that is there a long time ago as a historical side of the country. So really, you know, you remember leaders who were banned from going there and there, like Shah Iran, like others. Egypt all the time opened its doors for people for asylum.
Right. So the President emphasized also a very important point, which is that we have never used the refugee issue for political purposes. How important is this message to international community, and particularly currently speaking?
Of course, this is very clear for the visitor who visited us, the UN Chief of Refugees, who is here after having been appointed, and he witnessed that himself long time ago through his observation of what's happening in Egypt, and I think he commended that very much. And he also shared the President that there should be sharing of the burden and sharing of the responsibility that Egypt is taking on its shoulders.
Right. So how does Egypt's approach to refugees differ from other countries?
Actually, the nature of the Egyptian people is very important to mention here. We used to have people and to welcome the guests. We consider them guests rather than refugees. So I think that this is naturally happening. And even with some tension, with some turmoil that really took place by some people who really are not aware of the laws of the country and they are outlawing, I think that we handled that in a way that is humane. But again, we asked for organizing that. So I think Egypt is working now on an integrative plan regarding asylum. And it's being there, and it will organize everything, and it is being written and debated in the country. And I think that the UN Chief of Refugees, Mr. Saleh, yes, he commended it very much. He mentioned that with admiration, and he is supporting Egypt to do so.
What could be the main challenges that could face Egypt continuing to provide services to refugees and migrants, especially at this economic crisis that is ongoing the whole world?
Yes, Egypt is working in two tracks. Egypt is working very hard with international partners to make a stop on these causes of the crisis or the crises in our area. You have places like Sudan, Libya, Yemen, Iraq, Lebanon now. We are besieged by places where were struck by tough crises, and this make people come to Egypt. And I think that this is the most important track, is to deal with the roots of the crises around us. But again, let us also work on inside, and we are trying to organize it in an integrative way, in a way that would be win-win, in a way that would be good for everyone.
The President have called for greater international burden sharing. So what practical measures could the international community take to support Egypt in that matter?
Actually, the matter here, when we are talking about sharing, you know, there is a great deal of consuming of food, of utilities, of schools, of healthcare hubs, and all of this is being overloaded with that big number of refugees. So I think that the international community should share us this burden and should share us this responsibility. And I think that the chief, the UN chief of refugees, really recommended that very much, and he mentioned that he is going to work hard on this to help Egypt out in this.
At the end, I would like to thank you, Professor Dr. Hassan Wagih, Professor of International Relations. Would like to thank you so much, and you have a good day. And now it's Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli who congratulated President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and Egyptian people on the occasion marking the 13th anniversary of June 30th revolution. Also, while he was chairing the weekly cabinet meeting, the Premier reiterated that the revolution would remain the milestone of Egypt, and he also tackled the recent regional developments following the ceasefire deal inked by the United States and Iran. And we have more details.
Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli congratulated President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and the Egyptian people on the occasion marking the 13th anniversary of the June 30th revolution, describing it as a watershed moment in the nation's history that marked the beginning of a new phase of dedicated work across all sectors of the state to implement a comprehensive national development plan under the President's leadership. Madbouli expressed hopes that the occasion would bring about more progress, prosperity and development. The remarks came during the Cabinet's weekly meeting at the government's headquarters in the new capital, where a number of issues and policy files were discussed. The Prime Minister also reviewed regional developments following the announcement of a ceasefire between the United States and Iran, noting that Egypt's clear position on the need to continue joint efforts to implement the Memorandum of Understanding and complete negotiations between the two sides in order to reach a final, comprehensive and sustainable agreement. He stressed that any final agreement should guarantee the security of the Gulf Cooperation Council states and all Arab countries while ensuring respect for state sovereignty and territorial integrity. In this context, Madbouli, on behalf of the Cabinet, expressed deep appreciation for President al-Sisi's efforts to help contain the region's various crises and his ongoing coordination with the regional partners to reach political understandings and avoid conflict with the aim of achieving lasting security and stability in the region. The Prime Minister also extended his gratitude to Ahmed Abul Gheit for his leadership of the Arab League over recent years, praising his role in strengthening joint Arab action during his tenure as Secretary General. He further congratulated Nabil Fahmy, the nominee for the post of the Arab League Secretary General, describing him as one of Egypt's most distinguished diplomats who has played influential roles in shaping Egyptian foreign policy over several decades. Madbouli noted that Fahmy's combination of diplomatic experience, academic expertise and